Luis Garcia won't be rocking the baby this year. And Jose Abreu says, it's easy to be here. Why? Because they're the champions. Let's talk Astros baseball right now.
Alvarez hits a high drive center field. Bierling's back. This game is turned upside down. There's the runner. Fly ball down the right field line. Tucker comes on. Kyle Tucker. This time they finish the job.
Hello and welcome to Locked On Astros, your daily Astros podcast. Here are your hosts, Eric the Man Huysman and Brett Htown Wheelhouse Chancey.
Good evening, everybody. This is Htown Wheelhouse, and I'm coming to you live February 16th. If you're listening on audio, we're dropping it on Friday, February 17th. We are your team every day. You can find me at Htown Wheelhouse on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. You can find the show at Locked On Astros on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. We're always positive, always Stros. You can find me at Stros411 at Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. I mean, we are everywhere. And tonight, I've got a special guest with us, okay? This guy right here is an absolute legend. I could probably spend an entire 30 minutes just telling you all the cool stuff he's done in his life. I mean, just look at the guy's background. We've got James Christopher from the Let's Get to the Show and other podcasts. James, tell everybody where they can find you, and welcome to the show.
Well, first of all, thanks for having me. And yeah, you can find me at Let's Get to the Show on Twitter. Always fighting with Astros fans 30 years younger than me because I'm becoming an old man. I don't know what to tell you. But yeah, I'm excited to be here because you guys are one of my favorites.
Well, thank you so much. And you know, when you said you listen to us each morning, I was kind of like, wow, that's very humbling. So I appreciate the fact that you listen, and then when I invite you on, you're like, for sure. So that's a stamp of approval that you don't pay for, but that you ask for every time. So thank you so much. And seriously, check him out. I mean, he has got a really cool show. They go around to different minor league parks. I mean, you are really, really in tune with just baseball in general. In minor league baseball, such a big thing. You know, the champs have come back into camp. We saw people in there early: Michael Brantley, Corey Lee, Yordan Alvarez, Joe Perez, Jose Abreu. I mean, the buzz is in the air. When we are talking about spring training this year, James, what is most exciting to you going into the 2023 season?
Well, I tell you what, at first it was just the victory lap that this year will be. And I try to be a very, in the moment guy. And, I was thinking about with all the James Click stuff, and everybody immediately was fighting over this thing. And I wasn't getting part of it because I just want to enjoy having won a World Series. I've got 5 wine bottles behind me. Then seeing Brantley report already has me fired up because I think of all the names you just mentioned, that's the most important one. And then listening to Dana Brown, I know we're going to get to a lot of that today, but all of a sudden I'm still excited about the 2022 victory lap. But I don't know, man. I've got a really, really good feeling, as good as you can have February 16th or 17th, whatever it is, before spring training starts. So can I just say all of it? And that could be a good enough answer?
Yeah. Hey, that could be perfectly cliche. It's funny. I went to the Astros town hall for season ticket holders. A friend of mine invited myself. I brought my dad and just sat down and listened to Craig Biggio talk. And they asked Craig Biggio, they're like, okay, who do you think the Astros, or who are the Astros talking to about signing long-term deals? And Sparks asked him that. And so Craig Biggio responded. And so he looked at him, he said, so you're saying Tucker and Valdez, right? And Biggio would not give any names, but apparently, he's a big part of the organization. And that was so neat listening to him talk. Listen to him talk about coming in as a 22-year-old catcher and being around a bunch of, he said, 38-year-olds, Nolan Ryan, Bob Nepper, and Mike Scott. He's like, they had 6 kids, and I wasn't even married. So, but he said, we were a family. And he said, just like then, he said, this is a family now. And so he gave a ringing endorsement. And one of the things I noticed was Martin Maldonado comes into camp 17 pounds lighter. No more candy, no more sodas, no more stuff like that. He said, it's hard because I got kids around. And let me tell you, Craig Biggio gave a ringing endorsement to Martin Maldonado. How important is it that Martin Maldonado comes into camp in the shape that he's in?
Well, first of all, I quote when Harry met Sally, I'll have what he's not having apparently, because I could probably stand to lose 17 pounds as well. No, look, I know that we had a lot of fan base that was kind of all over Martin Maldonado last year. And I just think that's because there were other holes in the lineup. The way this lineup is constructed right now, just play catcher and be the best catcher in baseball. I think you are the best. You are the best defensive catcher in baseball from the perspective of managing the pitching staff, all of that stuff. The how steals get controlled with the larger bases is obviously yet to be seen, but I don't think you can underestimate how important Maldonado is when you're talking about you've really now got 4 established veterans in Maldonado and Brantley and Altuve and Bregman kind of holding it down. And I think we saw years ago when Verlander came, having that voice is as important as anything when you're talking about a 162 game season. So yeah, I mean, I would imagine him being lighter is going to keep him fresher. I'd like to see him not play 150 games, maybe 130. But no, I think you can't underestimate how good he is. And I think here's the case in point. The Astros were comfortable letting Verlander walk. And I don't know that they let Verlander walk if they don't have somebody like Maldonado who can manage the rest of the staff.
That makes a lot of sense. I've never looked at it that way. That's a great perspective. I don't always see the big picture, and that's why we bring someone like yourself on, because you are such an avid Astros fan. You are involved in the game. You have a passion for baseball, and to continue on this Maldonado theme, how important is it that he guides this staff into a season where rules are changing? Luis Garcia is having to change his pitching motion. And here in a second, after you answer the question, we're going to hear what Luis Garcia had to say about not being able to rock the baby anymore. But I was thinking about Maldonado's being an integral part this year because of all the rule changes.
Yeah, I mean, and some of them I think are good for the game. I think some of them are because Major League Baseball doesn't understand what's wrong with the game, and it isn't the things he's trying to fix. And I know that's not this show. It's actually probably more appropriate on my other show because it's affected the minors so much. But yeah, you're right. It's the wild, wild west out there. Pitch clocks, number of times you can throw over. Obviously, the focus on pitching motion. We learned from Maldonado his ability to calm a pitcher in the middle of the most high stress situation. And I think it's particularly at the beginning, you're going to see nothing. You're going to see that all over the place with these new rules. I think the plus side too, though, is these guys are also a year older. So maybe they're going to, obviously we've seen Valdez grow from 2018. And one of my co-hosts and producer of Let's Get To, we used to play the game Good Fromber, Bad Fromber. And you could tell in the first inning which one you were going to get. And I just think, again, having somebody like the field general, the quarterback out there that can just say, breathe, it's still baseball. I think it's going to pay really big dividends, particularly as we get into the pennant chase.
Yeah, definitely. So let's listen to what he had to say real quick in the locker room before they got started with spring training day one.
Luis, what's it like showing up to camp? You guys are the reigning world champs. What's the mentality? What's it like for you guys?
We're happy. We want to keep doing the things well, and we're excited to this year too. I mean, I don't know. I just try to adjust everything, basically. I mean, my pitches are the same, everything is the same, but the delivery will be something else.
Exciting.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited to spring training, come here and compete again. And that's fun, and I like it.
So there you go. He basically said, I'm having to adjust everything. I haven't really tried a whole lot, but we're going to work with it. Martin Maldonado was actually asked, and I didn't include this. And the great thing is we're going to be having clips like this throughout the spring training. I almost said postseason. I'm still stuck in November. But throughout spring training, we're going to have clips like this where we get players' words directly from that day. So we'll do as much as we can. We may be throwing in some extra episodes here and there. If we get a massive group of these pressers, it would be a great extra show to let you guys hear everything. So I know everybody's not on Twitter, doesn't see what Mark Berman posts.
Yeah.
But I love hearing what he's having to say. Before we do go any further, though, I do have to say that this podcast we love that you make it your first listen, but we want you to make your second listen every day. Locked on MLB Prospects with host Lindsey Crosby. He's Prospect Encyclopedia, and he's going deep into the MLB stars of tomorrow. James, heck, you guys could even have him on your show. He's a great, awesome, knowledgeable guy. It's free and available wherever you get your podcast. And thinking of that makes me hungry because we're in spring training. And if you want a delicious treat and you don't want all the fat, all the calories, you got to get a Built Bar. Why? Because Built Bars are healthy for you. Now, they taste so good, you're going to think, are you sure it's healthy? Well, let me tell you it is. Wrapped in 100% chocolate. And the macros, they're made for world champions, only 130 calories, 4 grams of sugar, and a whopping 17 grams of protein. But instead of going to Built.com, which you can still do, you can now go to your local Walmart, Sam's Club. That's right. Head to your nearest Walmart today. Walk to the pharmacy section and grab yourself a box of Built Bars. You can pick up a 4-box of cookies and cream, double chocolate, and coconut puffs. If you're close to Sam's Club, run in and grab a 13-bar box of our hit flavors, brownie batter and churro. You will thank me later. Built.com, the best bar in the biz. So going on to segment 2, we have a lot of people showing up. Everybody seems to be there. Now, Dusty Baker wasn't there, but Joe Espada said, it's okay. Dusty will be here. Not a big deal. He's probably at his winery chilling. I don't know. I know Alex Bregman was at the Cactus Jack HBCU celebrity softball game for Travis Scott, which actually I got invited to today, and I couldn't because I had to hang out with James Christopher with Locked On Astros.
I'm absolutely a poor substitute for Alex Bregman. I apologize.
But
thank you.
But yeah, you're welcome. With that being said, Dana Brown today. Dana Brown, this guy has come in and he has absolutely been a steamroller. I mean, he doesn't mince words. Now, we did talk to David Sampson with nothing personal, and he did say, now, Dana Brown's not going to come in and tell the owner what to do. But even though he may not be doing that, he's very assertive. He's very sure of himself. And Craig Biggio had a lot of high praise for him too. But Dana Brown said today, he made it clear that Alex Bregman and Jose Altuve and their agent, Scott Boras, know that they want to retire Houston Astros. How great is it for Dana Brown to be pumping up these two stars saying we need to keep these guys?
Well, first of all, how refreshing is Dana Brown, period? And obviously, look, Jeff Luhnow, he's spoken with reverence in my house. And I think people underestimate how good a job James Click did. But there was always a sense that we as Astros fans knew we weren't getting anything close to the direct truth. There was always this sort of, I wouldn't say underhanded, but sleight of hand going on. I love the fact that Dana Brown just talks. And yeah, be open about the fact that particularly with Bregman and Altuve, these are two changing players. I don't know why I can't talk right now, but they are the Biggio and Bagwell of this generation. They are the two, particularly Altuve, that needs to stay here their entire career. And I like the fact that it just seems he's just transparent and he says what's on his mind. And I, for one, am excited about just his entire approach, because one of the things the Astros have done really well in this 5 to 6 year run is just when someone catches up to them, they change. They even the way they measure analytics or process it gets different. And to kind of go back to a guy whose focus is on scouting could be the zig that keeps this team competitive. And so I, for one, I'm here for it. And please, let's get all those guys signed, Tucker included, and let's go win another one.
Exactly. And one of the things Craig Biggio said was when they announced Dana Brown coming here, Biggio said over 100 scouts blew up his phone with text messages. Wow. Great guy, professional. And he goes, a lot of these guys didn't realize that they had played together in Seton Hall. When Biggio was a junior, he was a freshman. But he actually helped. He actually was one of the people that helped draft Craig Biggio's son to the Blue Jays. And so he said, I'm kind of partial to Dana Brown.
Right.
He talked a little about, Cavan's struggles, and he said he's healthy this year, so he's hoping to have kind of a bounce back year. But they announced officially Christian Javier's deal. We knew it was the thing, but it was kind of official press conference. And what was interesting was he looked over and he said a lot of Christian Javier's friends are here watching, and hopefully we're going to be able to get them signed as well. And someone like zoomed in on Framber's face when he kind of wasn't looking at the at kind of like, Framber's like thinking, hey, where's my deal? But we've talked on the show that Framber's deal is a little bit more difficult because he is older.
Right.
And so his deal and his structure, you may not be able to pay as much value or maybe get higher value. You may have to back in that contract, make it low at the front or maybe front end low. I don't know. Like when I'm looking at Framber Valdez and I'm looking at Kyle Tucker, Hector Gomez came out and said, okay, the Astros are in talks with Framber about a $150 million contract. Framber's agent comes back to Chandler Rome, says, no, that is not happening. And then today, Dana Brown said that Framber and Tucker, according to John Morosi, that they came out and said that they've spoken with both agents about long-term deals.
Yeah.
So who do you think gets done first, Framber or Tucker?
I kind of feel Framber only because, and this is like the ultimate in Astros fan tea leaves reading, but didn't Kyle Tucker's walk-up song have something to do about getting paid? I don't know. I'm not an expert, but no, I kind of feel Framber, but I kind of have a feeling they both are going to get done. And it's interesting because, and you and I have spoken on Twitter about, there are a lot of people who, everyone that's left in this last run, like for me, it was Springer. For some people, it was Correa. We all felt like that was the guy you should have paid to keep. And I think when we get distance, we recognize that no, the Astros have been doing this smartly this whole time, and big contracts always sink a franchise. I think with the shift going away, and I know that the difference might be small. I'm not an analytics guy. That's up for Brian Arbor on our show. I went to film school, not math school, but it seems to me like Tucker might be the guy as a position player that is worth that contract. He's a rarity. He plays in an excellent defensive right field. And, I think Michael Schwab said he could predict he could be a 30-30 guy this year. And I think he could. So, I kind of have a feeling Dana Brown's going to push all his chips in, and we're going to see both of them get signed before opening day.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I actually said that on the show, I think last night, maybe last week, that I believe Kyle Tucker is a 30-30 guy. So this is what, and this was in Chandler Rome's article with the Houston Chronicle. And because
thanks for reading it to me, because Chandler Rome blocked me.
Yes. Yeah.
And I'm a nice guy.
Yes. I'm actually, so here's some inside info, James. So I'm sorry. Kyle Tucker's agent, Casey Close. I was looking for his last name, so I couldn't find it. Casey Close kind of dispelled some rumors. The rumors were that Kyle Tucker was upset about the arbitration thing. Okay. He said Casey's been around a long time. He totally understands that it's arbitration. And this is Brown talking. I'm used to dealing with Casey through the amateur draft, so we have a good relationship. We both understand that this is what arbitration is all about. We have to remain focused. I know he has to put his client first, and I'm putting both the client and the organization first, if I could put it that way. But make no mistake, I don't think there's any love lost between Casey and I, or the organization, and Casey or Tucker and the organization. I don't think Dana Brown would say that if it wasn't true, because you gain nothing for lying about that. You want to talk about these arbitration negotiations and how they could be going? We could be dealing with what the Brewers did to Corbin Burns today. Now, I don't know if you saw his soundbite on Twitter, but he's absolutely floored. Like, he literally came out and said, when I go through an arbitration hearing and I've given what I've given to the club, and they basically tell me I was the reason we lost in the playoffs, and that's why they didn't pay me. Yeah, I feel like y'all don't value me. And I'm like, holy crap. And everybody's like, come to Houston, Corbin. Come to Houston.
Yeah.
Well, right.
James Cook says in the comments, players don't get upset over arbitration. And I tend to agree. I think we get caught up in it as if we go ask our boss for a raise, we don't get it. And we look at it from this sort of personal thing. But I do think it's a standard part of the operation. They go through it. Now the Corbin thing, that's I've never heard of that. I've never heard of such a acrimonious discussion where you would straight out just tell a guy, hey, we'd be gone farther if you would have done something better. I don't.
Yeah, he literally, so Ben Verlander posted it, and I was watching it, and he was trying to hold it back. You could tell he didn't want to say it. And at the end, he's like, you know what? I'm just going to say it because I'm not happy about it. They basically said I was the reason we lost in the playoffs. It's like, can you imagine if the Astros would have done that? Let's say they were in negotiations with, Framber or Luis after the World Series we lost. Oh, you give it the home run and game whatever,
Right.
or that's just like you don't do that. He goes and he literally said, "You can think it, but you don't have to tell me."
Well, and to me, it's just dumb because we all know that the playoffs are a crapshoot. We're taking a sport based on big sample size, and we're putting it. The championship relies on small sample size. The idea that you can blame a single player for losing a playoff season, to me, makes me wonder if they're qualified to work in the state of in the game of baseball. Honestly, I would take the job. I guess I have to be a Brewers fan though. I don't know if I can do that to myself, but yeah.
So there is an account, and I don't know if he's an actual MLB executive. It says MLB executive burner. I doubt he is, but he's got some pretty good thoughts, which makes me think he has he's dipped his toe in the water there a little bit. He said if I was Corbin's agent, I would tell him to just save his bullets and just wait until he hits free agency and not waste any more energy. And I'm thinking, but then again, he's going to go out and I think he's going to have a banger of a year because I think he's a free agent after this season.
Mm-hmm.
And if he is, that dude stands to get a really nice payday. And that makes me think, when I think payday, I think, how am I going to get paid if I'm looking at sports and I'm looking at the NBA and I want to talk to you guys and girls about FanDuel? We are at the midway point of the NBA season. It's here and now, and it's a perfect time to download FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, because new customers get a no-sweat first bet up to $1,000. That's bonus bets back if your first bet doesn't win. That's right. You lose, you win. Trust me, it's FanDuel. It's that cool. Just download the FanDuel Sportsbook app today. It's safe, secure, and super easy to use. Then you can bet on everything from the money line to point scores to threes drained. Plus, FanDuel even lets you combine your bets for a chance for a bigger payout with the same game parlay. So don't miss this chance to get your no sweat first bet up to $1,000 in bonus bets when you go to FanDuel.com/locked on. That's FanDuel.com/locked on to learn more. Every moment is more with FanDuel. It's the official sports betting partner of the NBA. So let's roll right into this third segment because Dana Brown just hired a special assistant. Longtime scout Russ Bove, it comes in with 40 years experience, everything ranging from a major league scout to a pro scout to a scouting director, Brown said. He's worn so many hats, and we're happy to have him as an addition. I think he's going to lay eyes on a lot of good players, and we can put the pieces together with the scouting reports, the analytics, and our front office clearinghouse will work through all the data and all the information. And according to Craig Biggio, he's like, we've got like 120 guys on computers up there, because someone asked him last night, how are we going to go with all these, we're playing in new stadiums. We're not playing the same schedule. How are we going to attack the right field of this stadium we're not used to? And he goes, oh, trust me, they've got a computer for every field out there and they'll get the job done. And the last thing he says was, we're talking about how important it is to nail this draft to make sure we get the players right, how we know what their makeup is, their tools, understanding the data, what it's going to be. We're off to a good start in terms of communication. Russ knows where my heart is and where the bread and butter is in terms of the draft. Huge hire.
And it's huge for another reason, and it has nothing to do with stuff on the field. I think, again, there was a percentage of our fan base that was, look, and I've been an Astros fan since 1986. I was, I think, 9 years old. And we are a fan base that gets punched in the gut, even with all this recent run, more often than not. But I think that there was this thought that Dana Brown would simply be a puppet for Jim Crane, that Jim Crane would keep running things. And the fact that he's already making his own hires shows you that it's not going to be all that different a situation than what we see in most owner general manager relationships. And so, yeah, I think, again, it's big for the on-field stuff too, but I think it should be big for what the tone in the front office will be.
This club, I would have to say, because I saw this quote the other day, the question isn't, are the Astros the best team in baseball? Are the Astros right now the best organization in professional sports? Next to the Kansas City Chiefs, I don't know anybody else that's having more success. And not only that, they continue to have people show up and show out. And if you want to take Jeff Luna, put him on steroids, and then give him a likable personality, that's basically what Dana Brown is. I mean, look, I'm sorry. I mean, he rubbed people the wrong way. Am I not? Am I not accurate?
Look, I honestly believe that the Astros sign stealing punishment, a lot of that was they wanting to punish Jeff Luno for lots of things that had nothing to do with stealing signs. I will go to my grave believing that. But I think you hit the nail on the head. And I think if you think about, there's a lot of pushback when we talk about how our minor league system is lower ranked, but it is. It just is. And when you win this long, you don't pick high, you make trades. The idea that we've hit on so many guys though in that system is unheard of. Go to Vegas with those guys, because I think, to your point, that makes us the best run organization in baseball.
It is. And, Jim Crane, just people that I talk to about Jim Crane, about the way he runs things. And when you think about the kind of business he's in logistics. I mean, that's a perfect business model to go into baseball. Numbers, logistics, evaluation, getting the most out of something. That, logistics. We're talking about ocean liners filled with crates with hundreds of millions of dollars of inventory that Crane Logistics moves, right, globally. Now you go, okay, if I know how to put people together in $1 billion business, Crane Industries, and I take that same knowledge because I love baseball and I put the right baseball people, the smart baseball people in place. That's why we have Elvis Rodriguez. That's why we have Rafael Pena. That's why we have, Joe Thon. That's why we have these players, Joey Luperfido out of Duke, who is probably going to show up in a couple years, Drew Gilbert. We have so many people, and yet we're still, quote unquote, underrated as a minor league system. It's just, it's got to be infuriating to the other fan bases, because it just almost doesn't seem fair, James.
No, I think look, I think if we were the Oakland A's and that scandal happened, I think it would have been over and done with. I think there is also we're the Golden State Warriors from that run. That's the only NBA knowledge I have. So there you go. We began and ended it. But yeah, I think that there's part of it. I think I've got really good Yankee fans who are like, how come every time I turn around, you guys are in the ALCS and we can't get back there? So no, I think you hit the nail on the head.
Yeah, definitely. So hey, this is what I want to do, and I want to ask you if you want to do this. I'm gonna kind of throw a little curveball at you. I'm gonna wrap things up for our audio audience, and then I want to keep going for about another maybe 10 minutes, and I want to talk a little bit about Hunter Brown, and I want to get in his clip that he talked about going into this season, because I think he is an integral part. So for right now, if you're listening on audio, you've got to get over to YouTube. You got to subscribe to our channel. You got to check us out. Check us out on Apple, Google, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. And again, make sure you make Locked On MLB Prospects your second listen with host Lindsey Crosby. He's a prospect encyclopedia. He's going deep into the MLB stars of tomorrow. It's free and available wherever you get your podcasts. So for our audio audience, James, Christopher, tell them where they can find you once again.
Let's get to the show on Twitter. Our new season, we're basically a travel show through the lens of minor league baseball. And I'm on my quest for 50 ballparks, or 50 games in 50 states, and I will have one left after this year. So check out we have a graphic up. If you're anywhere near us, come by and say hi, and I might even buy you a beer. But we will be back with our show in mid-March.
Nice. I love that. So you heard it first. James is going to buy me a beer. That's all I heard in that statement. So I look forward to that. But hey, thanks again for tuning in. For our audio audience, again, go over to YouTube and check out the rest of this conversation. All right, we got a good break in there. All right, excellent. So Hunter Brown, he basically got told that, hey, you have a chance to be one of the 5 starters. That's a ringing endorsement. Dusty Baker loves this kid. Major League Baseball loves this kid. and he is very confident in who he is and what he can do. What do you think the probability is? If I say, give me a percentage chance that he shines in spring training and he becomes one of the 5 starters?
85. I mean, I really believe, again, back to the metrics of letting Verlander walk because this kid was there. And, we might see kind of an extension of that 6-man rotation deal. He might be making spot starts or whatever, but I do believe he will be. I honestly hope he's in the rotation. We talked a little bit about Luis, and he's very confident and cool. But if I'm Luis Garcia and I'm not, I would be freaking out because who knows what's going to happen with this whole if he does have to change his delivery and doesn't go from the stretch. So I do believe in James Cook's 6 starters, not 5. I mean, I do, and I think Hunter Brown is one of those guys. And I think it would be. I thought for the last few years it was a disservice to Christian Javier to have him do what he's doing, and I hope we don't make the same mistake with Hunter Brown.
Yeah, exactly. And so that's what Eric and I talked about, because in April we have so many off days. They're not going to be able to do a 6-man rotation with all the off days in April. I think they go with 5 in April and then maybe they add a 6. To me, sorry, but my odd man out is Jose Urquidy. I think if Luis Garcia can work out his different things, he is my guy. And before we get to the Hunter Brown comments, I want to talk a little bit more about him. You just got to love the way he approaches things. He doesn't feel like he's owed anything, and he feels like he has to earn it. And since you listen to the show, you may have heard me say, and I'd probably say it, I probably need another Hunter Brown story. So hopefully over spring training, I can get a couple conversations and throw those liners out there. But still never forget his first words to me after he made the Futures game was, "It's great, but I want to be at Minute Maid helping the Astros win a World Series."
Right.
I mean, that was his mindset. And when I said every one of our listeners has you on the playoff roster, and he said, "Let's just hope the Astros see it that way," he was growing tired. He was like, "What else can I do?" I mean, 200 innings or whatever, 230 strikeouts or whatever the ratio was. He was just striking out people at an unbelievable clip with Hunter Brown. It's just satisfying to see a young rookie or a young player. We've got another player for the last, 5 or 6 years. We've had at least one player in the Rookie of the Year either win it or be in the top 10. And this year we've got Hunter Brown.
Yeah, and I think he will line up along with those other ones. I know that there's some, again, I went to film school, and there's some people that were worried about some of his sort of advanced metrics at AAA, but also AAA is a very, particularly Pacific Coast League, a very offensive driven league. I wasn't too worried about them. And I just think there was a couple of games that he made, a couple of appearances he made where I was like, that is nails for a rookie to pull that off. And so I have as much confidence in him as I do Lance McCullers or as I do Christian Javier. I mean, I think the odd man out could be Luis or like you said, Urquidy, but which will break my wife's heart because that's like her favorite. But no, I think we'll see him. I running for the Rookie of the Year.
No, yeah, definitely. And I was just going to say this before I post this clip, because thank y'all for staying and hanging out. The clip, I think, is about 2 to 2.5 minutes, but it's all questions to Hunter about the season. His last year, I don't know if I should admit this, but I bet Jeremy Pena as Rookie of the Year, but I hedged my bet with Julio Rodriguez because I wanted to have a fallback. And I'm wondering if, hey, Hunter Brown should be the guy you choose, but maybe hedge your bet with like Gunnar Henderson or someone like that. So just be smart when you're voting for Rookie of the Year. But man, if he wins and you throw the money down on that kid, he's not the favorite. And that would be a very good payout for you. This is not official gambling advice. I'm just telling you what I've done. I'm a complete novice when it comes to sports betting. So let's get to Hunter Brown. Let's get to what he had to say today about the season, and then we'll come back and you and I can close it out with our thoughts and reaction to it. That was the wrong one.
So definitely looking forward to another season and opportunity down here.
What were your big takeaways from these?
I think it just showed us that if we do what we're capable of, obviously we can be world champions, and that's what we were last year, and that's what we're gonna strive to do this year as well.
What did you learn most once you got up and had the opportunity? You jumped right in and did your thing. You had success.
I learned that there's so many good not only ball players but just leaders in this clubhouse, whether it's on the coaching staff or other guys on the team, that I was able to just kind of take a back seat and just watch and just kind of that was really enjoyable, and obviously it was a great learning experience for me too. But just to see those guys go to work every day and kind of try and follow in their footsteps, that was probably my biggest takeaway of last year.
I was going to ask you the learning side of things. When you get that call up and you came up, those initial days and weeks, what were those like for you, being around some of the veterans here, like Verlander was here, and some of the others that you learned from? What was that like?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it was awesome. It was something that I looked forward to my whole life was to get to the big leagues, and so yeah, last year, that's like you said, it was just you had guys like Verlander, Lance was obviously here, Presley, Stanek, Hector, all these guys in the bullpen, and I got an opportunity to do a little bit of both too. So I got an opportunity to talk to really everybody for the remainder of the season, which was just awesome.
Even with JV gone, the staff is so deep, as you well know. What's that like coming into camp, knowing, hey, we got plenty of arms. There's no reason why we can't just do this again.
Yeah, I mean, we're just excited. I'm sure. I'm not going to speak for everybody, but for myself particularly, I'm very excited for this year and looking forward to see what we can do.
Yeah, I mean, you can't say it any better than that. Like, you could script something for a rookie to say, and what he said would be 10 times better than that.
Yeah, completely. He sounds mature, and I know, like, sorry, we all seen Bull Durham. They work on the cliches, right? But
Right.
no, he sounds mature. He sounds ready. I have utmost confidence in his ability to do that. And I feel, I don't know how to put this because it's a bad example, but I was really confident in Forrest Whitley, and I think injuries derailed him, but I feel even better about Hunter Brown and what he's going to be able to do this year.
Yeah, exactly. It's, and even look, I think apparently he actually added he got rid of the changeup, and I think he added a split finger to his arsenal, but they say the split finger may not stay if it doesn't work. So, he's trying everything to get there. And I think Dusty said it when he first got here, heavy is the head that wears the crown. And he's worn that crown, and he just has had some bad luck.
Yeah.
You just really hope for that kid that because of all the hype, at some point he gets to realize his major league dream, because it's really tough on a player personally and individually if you have all the hype and then you've got nothing to really show for it. But Hunter Brown, he came in, not a lot of people knew about him, but when he started making his moves in the minors, I started paying attention. And a lot of the Astros pitchers are like that. And what's great, look at this 1 through 6. They're all our pitchers. They're not free agents. They didn't come from another league. They didn't grow up in someone else's organization. They're all Astros born and bred pitchers. That to me is the coolest part about this pitching staff.
Yeah, me too. And one of my co-hosts on Go Astros said, you grow your pitching, you buy your hitting. And it's definitely kind of what we're doing. And, you're also seeing, because you have a really good pitching coaching staff that runs the entire gamut of the organization from single A up to the majors. And now you're getting the same lessons, the same repetition, the same, just the same stuff. And that's going to pay off at the major league level when they get here. And I think we've seen that, even in 2020, most importantly, when everybody was getting hurt over and over and over again, and they were putting in guys that I hadn't heard of, and so I think we should be really happy. This Astros team, it's better than last year because you have just as good a pitching staff, and you don't have that extra hole in the lineup with the addition of, so look, I almost said the hole in the lineup referring to Yuli, but Yuli wasn't what he was last year, and we have to be honest. No,
yeah, definitely, and I agree with that wholeheartedly. James, this has been a great this has been a great conversation. We'll definitely have to have you back. If you guys ever need an extra person to, take a mic, let me know, and I'll be glad to help you guys out as well.
We'd love to.
So once again, tell the people where they can find you.
Again, at Let's Get To the Show on Twitter, and that'll get you to the link tree. We have Let's Get To is our flagship show. It's, again, a minor league baseball travel show. Our first trip this year is going to be to the Rocket City Trash Pandas. We're having our 5th season party at the Omaha Storm Chasers. And then we also run Go Astros, which is a Astro show for old people. And then we run a show called Y'all Fight Suey, which is an Aggie, a Razorback, and a Longhorn talking college sports. And it's actually the nicest conversation you've ever heard. We even have an Arkansas Razorback who can speak English, which is impressive.
That's awesome. We've actually had Ryan Stanek on the show a few times. You guys need to get Stanek on the show because he is an Arkansas Razorback.
Oh, yeah, we need to.
Perfect. So, well, hey, you know what? Here's the deal. Here at Locked On Astros, we are your team every single day. We appreciate you listening to us. We appreciate your subscribing. We appreciate on your way to work, when you're on your way home, when you're traveling. Make sure you make us your first listen. Heck, make Let's Get To the Show your second listen, and Go Astros. Check them out. James, Christopher, thank you so much. For myself, Eric the Man Huysman, who's not here, and producer Mark, we just want to say good night, and let's go get another day of spring training, and we'll be back with more info on this spring training edition of Locked On Astros, where your team every day. Go Stros.